Good morning. This is the beginning of week 3, and it's primarily a week of reading. I was going to tuck in another SAT prep test just to remind you of the carefulness in reading, of going back and forth and asking yourself questions about the text. But I think you have enough really built into the text. So just keep in mind, be focused, take your time. The readings are broken down into relatively short segments, so read and reread. Same thing, isolating the passages that show you understand how the fossil fuel industry used the same strategies as the tobacco industry. So get that down right. Explain how their strategies are useful to them, how they create a message that has appeal. And then the same thing that you would use in any careful reading. First read, look up everything you don't know, and then give it a second read. Once you kind of clod through in low 4 and figure out what you know, what all the words, the references are, then give it a second read, and then get a third read where you get the best quotes for your topic. Just something about, academic reading. It just takes a while. I don't have a link for Module 1 yet. I was looking for that, but that's all right. So as you go through here, it's pretty straight ahead. A lot of things starting on Tuesday. I think one I accidentally put Monday, but it's going to be reading, Tuesday, Thursday. And, if you need an extra day, that's okay. But keep in mind, this is a big, big reading week. You've got a self-assessment that's self-explanatory, and a short quiz to remind you of the fundamental marker of climate change, which is quite simply the atmosphere is changing such that the upper atmosphere is getting cooler and the lower atmosphere is getting warmer, which basically means that the heat's not coming from the sun, but it's getting trapped in the earth. So check out that basic fundamental fact. We'll look at that in a couple of weeks because the current Secretary of Energy says that that isn't happening, but just enough just to get that primary concept. And here you have, I'm going to put these up shortly, the week 2 quote integration samples. Today's Monday. I'll get to that a little bit later. And I still have a lot of work to look at from last week. Got through your PIQs, but have a lot of other stuff to look at. Notice I break it down. This is kind of a fun stretch. Just one of the common arguments against climate change is that, well, we just don't know yet. And these 4 pages let you know that, oh, yeah, we've known for quite some time. This is not new stuff. We're just not acting. And just a reminder why I'm asking you to do the careful reading, understand the passages well, and get the best quotes for our tobacco strategy disinformation campaign, just so you can pull the material that really serves a focused essay. More on that by the end of this week. I'll have some good prompts to help you focus on essay 1 as well as some writing exercises. Okay, so getting through the reading again. Another section. This is kind of a fascinating one. We're going back and forth between a 45-year-old analysis, and Oreskes will explain why it was in a way diluted and how that dilution actually ends up shaping how it was written about in the New York Times. Really fascinating stuff. But keep in mind, the people doing this aren't paid by the fossil fuel industry. They are just pro-industry scientists, economists shaping a message that they think makes sense. So this isn't yet corruption and lying. This is just the natural bent to worry more about industry than the environment, kind of a political alignment. And here we have Nierenberg again. This is not fossil fuel funded, but the message and the findings were very useful for the fossil fuel industry. And the reminding to, respond to people, all that other fun stuff. Hansen's graph, thorny, Listen to this. It's a very elaborate case of cherry picking. So I want you to understand not only how they misrepresented Hansen's graph, but also how it kept the first president, Bush, from responding to climate change. They were so convincing that the White House said, oh, there is no threat. So this is very significant. It pretty much stopped America. Gosh, what is that? Almost, I'm thinking of 91 or so. So that's like 35 years ago. We could have got ahead of this, and instead we stopped because of, in part, how they misrepresented Hansen. Great thing on character assassination. Takes a bit of time, but is a very elaborate. And then you get this slice from the vice presidential debate in 1992, where the lies told, set to undermine Al Gore, show up in the presidential debate. Really fascinating stuff here. And well worth understanding. I want you to kind of get that, Al Gore had won a lot of prestige with his publication of Earth in the Balance, and he really had a glow to him as a vice presidential candidate. So this was an attempt to say that, he's bats, he doesn't know what he's talking about, to take the shine off of his image, as it were. And then we have another one here where we're still with Al Gore. We're still with tarnishing his image, just how it showed up in the Washington Post. And I think are we just about done? Yeah, pardon me, let me go back. I think that preceding one was actually on Roger Revelle. My apologies. I sometimes get ahead of myself in summarizing the content from memory. So I think this last one is on Roger Revelle, which is related to Al Gore as well, but it just it shows how the concerted effort to misrepresent one of the leaders of climate change led to a flurry of industry-friendly editorials and propaganda pieces to basically suggest that there's nothing to worry about with climate change. So again, it shows how you go from deception to publication to sort of mass media spreading of this nonsense. Anyway, that's it for the week, but it's just a lot of careful, critical reading. Your first essay will be based primarily on the book, Merchants of Doubt. That's Introduction, chapters 1 and chapter 6. You can certainly tuck in things from the movie, but there's no internet research, and I'm going to require accurate quotation. So you have to know the content well, know what your topic is, and be able to illustrate it not only with a sure grasp in your own word of the content, but with those quotes that really bring your message home. So again, this is all preparation. And by the middle of this week 3, I'll have some prompts that'll help you understand how to organize this into your first essay, which will be due at the end of week 4. I hope this helps you get a good start. Let's see how I shut this thing off here. Why is it? Ah, there it goes.